Okay, in these two problems, we're going to have to do some sketches. So let's talk about these periodic functions. First, we got to make sure we're clear we're in degrees, and this x is an angle. In these functions, what's going to happen is we're going to be inputting angles, and then the y's are going to be outputs. And what I want you to think about this is just like graphing anything. I know the graph looks a little different than we're used to. And then let's remember what we know about periodic functions. This number times sine or cosine, that's the amplitude. That's how far it is away from the midline. And this number times x, that's the frequency. And it can find the period by doing 2 pi divided by the frequency. And then if I add a number to the x's, that's going to shift it left or right. And it's going to be the opposite of what you think. And if there's a number added, and it can be written at the front or the back, then it's going to move up or down, which it's going to make it the midline. So here we got clearly the amplitude is 3. That's 3 times cosine. And then the midline is going to be 1 because there's this 1 that's been added. And the frequency is 1 because there's just 1x. And then period, that means, is going to be 360 because 360 divided by 1 is 360. So that means that if I've got my midline sketched, it can't go higher or lower than -2 or higher than 4. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 36 degrees and divide it by 4 times the frequency, which gives me 90. And then I'm going to plot these points, 0, 90, 180, 270, and 360. And all I'm going to do is use it like a calculator. I'm going to go make sure I'm in degrees, but then I'm just going to type it in this function they've got, and I'm going to substitute the various angles. If I put a 0 in, I get a 4. I put a 90 in, I'm going to get a 1. I put a 180 in, I'm going to get a -2. And if I put a 270 in, I'm going to get a 1. And then if I get a 360, I'm going to get a 4. I'm just going to make sure that when I do my sketch that I curve as I get to the extremes, and I'm good. Now take a look at 3f. Amplitude is 2. Our frequency, or our midline is going to be -1. The frequency is going to be 3, which means the period is going to be 360 divided by 3, or 120. And what we're going to do is take our 360 and we're going to divide it by 4 times 3, or 12. So 360 divided by 12 is going to be 30. And so what's going to happen is I'm going to plot the points 0, 30, 60. I'm going to go by 30s. I'm going to plot all these points. I probably won't have to do all of them. I'll be able to see a pattern. So anyway, I take my function and put it in there. 2 sine 3 times, and then 0 for the first one, -1. That gives me a -1. I go ahead and plot my midline and make that point. Now I'm just going to change these angles from 30 to 60, then to 90, and plot the various points. And after I do this for a little while, I'm going to be able to see this pattern. And at some point in time, I probably can stop using the calculator. I can start to anticipate what the next point's going to be. And I see now, okay, so this next one's got to go here, the next one's going to go here. And all I got to do is follow the pattern, and I can use the calculator for all of them if I want, but the pattern should continue. And then there's my graph. All right, I hope that helps. Thanks for watching.